This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the San Marcos CISD Board of Trustees. Tonight is Monday, September 16th, and it's 6 o'clock at San Marcos High School. We have a quorum with 5 board members present, and I would like to invite our new principal at Goodnight Middle School, Mr. Mitchell, to come to the podium and introduce his student who will be leading us in, students, excellent. Who will be leading us in the pledge.
All right, thank you all for having us. So I brought 2 of our student leaders here. Both of them are in NJHS, and both are on our student council at Goodnight Middle School. So these are our 2 8th grade student leaders. Right here I have Connor Scott, and right here I have Courtney Blakemore, and they are going to be leading us today on in our pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
There you go.
Thanks so much. Y'all have a great school year.
And go enjoy yourselves.
Now we're going to move into public forum. We have 2 people signed up to speak. The first is Mr. Charles Anderson on the guardian ad litem duties of the school.
Matt had an ad litem lawyer.
I cut a little bit of my speech, try and get it down, so it might be a little. Thank you for the time to speak. When I'm finished, I'm going to ask for the opportunity to get on the agenda for the next public board meeting. My son got in trouble at school, and that trouble exposed what I believe to be a large problem in our schools around the entire state of Texas. My son goes to the Texas School for the Deaf in Austin. He also has an emotional disability called disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, DMDD. Beyond sudden, violent, uncontrollable rages that can last an hour or more, it also means poor impulse control and poor executive functioning. Last week at school, this culminated with my son doing something that required a police report to be written. The moment there's even a possibility of police and criminal justice system becoming involved, there needs to be a set of policies and protocols in place to protect the child. I checked with my administrator and our school SRO, and there is nothing in place to protect any child from making a statement against their interest. We taught our son that when he gets in trouble to be honest, take responsibility, accept the consequences, learn from the mistake, and then try not to make the same mistake again. That teaching is for when the consequences are confined to the student code of conduct. Maximum penalty, 45 days in DAEP, and a loss of privileges at school. The moment the police and the criminal justice system can get involved, there's a very different standard. Maximum penalties can mean time in juvenile detention center from weeks to years. Time away from family living with parents can permanently damage a child. The school must have policies and protocols in place the moment even the possibility of police involvement is contemplated. Here's an example of what I mean. A student comes forward and says that they saw a vape in a student backpack. The school plans to search the backpack. This is where the school has a dual but conflicting interest. The school must protect the student body from possible drugs on campus, but it also has a responsibility to the accused student as guardian ad litem to protect the student from saying or doing anything that might be used later against the child in any criminal proceedings. You may be looking at me thinking, well, that's an extremely remote possibility, and you would be right. But my response is that is not the point. The child has rights against self-incrimination and cannot be expected to understand the possible implications of making a statement when police and the criminal justice system are involved. How can a child be expected to know when to follow their parents' teaching about honesty, responsibility, and acceptance when that is not appropriate? When their honesty could lead to possible removal from the family, home, and from school to serve time in jail. Our school district must recognize this dual and conflicting responsibility. To be concise, you have a responsibility to the needs of the many, but you also have a responsibility to the needs of the few or the one. Your responsibility to the needs of the many you are meeting, but you are failing in meeting the responsibility of the few or the one. I'm requesting to be put on the agenda for our next public board meeting so that we can have a two-way conversation about this discussion of this very important protection of our children's rights.
Thank you. Our second speaker tonight is Jeremy Rowley, who wishes to address the board.
6:05. Ms. Lopez.
My name is Jeremy. I'm a freshman here at the high school. And last year I broke a window on the STEAM building, and my parents have always told me to take responsibility for my actions. So I had spent my summer working at Schlitterbahn as a lifeguard in order to earn the money that I was told I needed to pay back the school for my window. And I have a $3,000 check. Mr. Hartley had told me that that's how much it was going to cost. So that's what I have.
Thank you, Jeremy, very much. We trust you're going to have a great school year, Jeremy.
You told me this was so I could go to lunch. Now you're saying
It means you could take the board to lunch.
that's right.
Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Hartley to come forward to do our student recognitions for the month.
Hi, my name is Blair Hartley. I'm one of the administrators at St. Marcus High School. This evening I have the privilege and the honor to recognize some of our juniors and seniors for their academic excellence and honor them for some national scholars and scholarships that they received through the pre-SAT. Each year all of our high school students participate in the SAT, the pre-SAT, the 11th grade NMSQT, and our 12th grade students take the SAT. Our 10th and 11th graders are able to be recognized with national recognition, which we had 14 students, 9 of them are here tonight. I'm going to introduce them individually, but I'd like to thank the school board and our district as they support our kids and our programs financially by paying for these exams. None of our families have to pay for these exams. Students that receive these awards are also able to add those honors to college applications, scholarship applications, and it enables them to be eligible for scholarships through College Board at bigfuture.org. So on behalf of the high school, thank you for your support. We appreciate it. First student is Bryn Gardner. She received national recognition. She received national recognition as a rural and small town national scholar. Zane Hartman, he received national recognition as a Hispanic scholar. Alexandria Juarez, she received national recognition as a Hispanic scholar. Adam Novello, he received national recognition as a first-generation scholar, Hispanic scholar, and Indigenous People scholar. Georgia Rocio, she received national recognition as a Hispanic scholar and a rural scholar. Constantine Reyes received national recognition as a Hispanic scholar. Yamileth Soriano Gonzalez received national recognition as a first generation and Hispanic scholar. Rice Tips received national recognition as a first-generation scholar and a rural and small-town scholar. And Diego Vaca Flores received national recognition as a Hispanic scholar and a rural and small-town scholar. Again, thank you for your support financially and with what these students do, and it's an honor to have these 9 in the 14 students that we have at the high school that were able to receive national recognition. Thank you.
Step back.
I'll come back.
There we go.
Parents, if y'all want to come up.
Find a hole.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Wait for your parents. Let your parents take a picture.
Just stand and smile. Get used to it.
Congratulations, great work. Keep it up.
Thank you to the parents. Parents, we really appreciate y'all smiling with us in the great times and gritting your teeth and bearing with us in the bad times, but always pushing your kid to do the best. We do appreciate y'all. Madam President, that's all I have for
Thank you.
superintendent's report.
At this point, the board is going to move into closed session as authorized by section 551.071, 551.074, 551.082, and 551.0821 of the Texas Education Code. closed session to take action if necessary on items discussed in closed session. A, the action regarding level 3 hearing filed by parent-student pursuant to board policy FNG local. The board has deliberated concerning the level 3 grievance appeal of MC and FM. And at this time, I'd like to motion the following, that the board, in terms of the grievance requested remedies, number 1, that it is granted, number 3, that it is granted, number 4, that it is granted, number 5, that it is granted, number 6, that it is granted, number 7, that it be partially granted as pursuant to the abilities of the district to do so, number 9, that it is granted, number 10, that it is denied, and number 12, that it is granted. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second made by Ms. Lopez. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? The motion carries. Item B, discussion action regarding the superintendent's evaluation. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the evaluation for the FY year of 23-24 school year.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Shanks, seconded by Ms. Cantu. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? That motion also carries 5-0. Next, we are moving into the reports and information items for this evening. The academic reports, first of all, is recognition that this is Suicide Awareness Month. As such, I have a proclamation. Whereas September is recognized as Suicide Awareness Month to raise the visibility of mental health and proactive suicide prevention resources in our community, and whereas National Suicide Prevention Week begins the World Suicide Prevention Day on September 10th, a moment in time in which we rally the public to create awareness of this leading cause of death and inspire more and more people to learn how they can play a role in their communities to help save lives. And whereas, according to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the Center for Disease Control, and the National Institute of Mental Health, suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 14, and the third leading cause of death among people aged 15 to 24 in the U.S., noting that 46% of people who die by suicide had a diagnosed mental health condition. And whereas, according to NAMI, CDC, and NIMH, the prevalence of serious thoughts of suicide greatly impact our youth in the U.S., specifically 11.3% of young adults aged 18 to 25, 18.8% of high school students, and 45% of LGBTQ youth in the U.S., and whereas community organizations like Senecor Foundation, Greater San Marcos Youth Council, Hayes Caldwell Women's Center, NAMI Central Texas, Communities and Schools of Central Texas, Hill Country MHDD centers, along with other organizations, local mental health providers, serve on the front lines and see the impact of suicide and work to reduce the stigma, provide resources, support, and provide education to San Marcos Consolidated Independent School District, the City of San Marcos, Hayes County, and whereas we encourage all residents to take time to understand mental health through education by actively participating in mental health first aid training, assist suicide prevention training, youth awareness of mental health training, and other opportunities to increase education and awareness in Hayes County. Recognize that we need to take care of our mental health while we take care of each other, and therefore, the San Marcos CISD Board of Trustees do hereby proclaim September 2024 as Suicide Prevention and Action Month. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Thank you. That motion carries 5-0. Now we'll move into the campus updates. Dr. Cardona.
All right, we have first on the alphabet, Ms. Carla Garcia, our wonderful principal.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Cardona, Board of Trustees, Cabinet members, and community members as well. I am Ms. Garcia. I am the principal at VI.A. I am also accompanied by Ms. Edna Bettis, who is my assistant principal. As we begin to look at our campus evaluation, I first want to bring attention to our theme this year. As a campus, we collectively and collaboratively came up with using Ernest Hemingway's little quote in regards to where we're going to move our campus moving forward. And so, as it is always a great idea to have an end in mind, but it is how you're going to get through that process or that hike and that journey to get towards that end in mind. So some of our celebrations and moving into our journey that we have, we also have aligned it to our OHI, which is our Organizational Health Index. One of the biggest celebrations that we do have to announce is our reclassification of our English language learners. And so we did have 9 students that we projected that would be successful and reclassified, and out of those 9, we did have 5 students, meaning that they received advanced high recommendations on TELPAS, and then they were also passed their STAR test without the use of any STAR accommodations. So we're very proud of our English language learners as we are phasing them out, but we're phasing them into positive ways. Our next one is that we have incorporated PLCs, and now I know you're probably thinking we're already doing that. However, Bowie was having 2 PLCs a week that was also connected to their conference times. So what we've done is strategically looked at our master schedule. We've incorporated 2 PLCs a week, still with that, but teachers still have their daily 45-minute conference time built in as well. And so that allows our teachers to still plan and prep, along with having the PLC times built into our master schedule. When we look at our increased specialized focus for instructional strategies, some of the areas that we looked at was a high need when we met with our team during the summertime was what our focus was going to be in our tailoring our instruction, also looking at our data to make sure that it was driven, and creating assessments that will allow us to look at real-time data and then adjust and monitor as we need to. So when we talk about that, one of our biggest things is accountability. The district currently has systems and obviously best practices in place, and we've established that to ensure that we have some student outcomes. One of the things that we've incorporated is our PLC calendar. So with the framework that the district has incorporated, that the 3 PLCs that the teachers should be implementing, we've tied that to a calendar to ensure that everybody is having best practices in place. So admin is able to see on this calendar when teachers put in what type of PLC that they're having, and we can provide the support to them, whether through admin, instructional coaches, or even district coordinators as well. Our assessment calendar we've incorporated this year. As we finish out the modules, usually students are testing anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks, 9 weeks. By then, it's too late for us to make any adjustments. So we've developed an assessment calendar where teachers create assessments for the students after they completed a unit or a particular TEK, which gives us the chance to see real life data and make those adjustments before waiting to the 6-week or 9-week mark. We've also, like I said, designated their planning time. So when they have their conference times, 2 days are designated for planning, which means admin and instructional coaches sit in to help teachers create activities to gear their students' progressive learning. And then the other 3 days are for prepping for our students. Communication, we were on our organizational health, we were had some positive feedback as far as our communication. This year, however, we wanted to make sure that our communication to our parents and to our staff was consistently there for them. And so we do have a bulletin that goes out every Sunday at 3 o'clock for parents and the same time for our students too. Within that communication, there are 3 months out as far as our activities. We have planned for our activities for the entire school year already. But then they'll also be able to see our expectations not only for our students, but they are posted throughout the campus, and then our parents are aware of our of our expectations that we have for our students this year. We also send home our communication in both English and in Spanish, so anything that we do post on our newsletter, it is also sent home to our parents as well. And lastly, our biggest area of focus that we're going to look at is parent engagement and attendance. Typically, we have about 1 to 2 parent engagement nights, with the understanding that I do make sure that we are not burning out our teachers. And so we split the activities to where half of the staff may attend one event and then the other half attend the other event. So then that way our teachers are not having the burnout. And we've done it on Thursdays, so we keep the consistency when we're having parent nights. Again, it does go out just to make sure that we are providing that information for our parents in regards to any content events or resource. And we just had our first one last Thursday, which was very successful. As you can see, we do have our updated events, and like I said, I do post them 3 months ahead of time, so that way it gives parents a chance to prepare to plan which event that they would like to attend. We also have an attendance Google Sheet that we have filled out, so at 8:15 our teachers go in there and provide any messages that they've received or any students that are absent, and then I have a team of 3 that we call our parents to get our kids in before 10 o'clock. And so we've seen our increase of attendance right now. So our goal is 97, and roughly we're anywhere between 94 and 95% of our daily attendance. So this has definitely made an impact of calling our parents and getting them to school. And that is it for us tonight.
Thank you. Next up, Crockett Elementary School.
All right, good evening. My name is Annalisa Holmes. I'm the very proud principal of Crockett Elementary. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Cardona, our superintendent. Okay, so I want to first thank you for all the support you've given our San Marcos community and our Crockett community, and for giving me the chance to do one of my favorite things in the world, which is talk about Crockett. So our theme this year is growing greatness. Our leadership team came up with this theme. Our leadership team is comprised of our campus administration, teachers, and non-teaching professionals. And we came up with this theme with the idea that every kid can and will grow academically, behaviorally, social-emotionally. So tonight we're going to discuss where we are and where we are going. We're going to talk about data, our community, and then our goals. So this is just a brief overview of our third grade data. You have all of this, so I'm not going to go through every single little bit of it. I do want to highlight a theme that you will see with Crockett's data. So our reading, you will see, this is just performance data, and so you will see increases in our reading data in particular. And our math, it sort of hangs around the same. In the 4th and 5th grade, you will see that cohort growth. The 4th grade data, this is cohort data. So this is the same student in 3rd grade and the same student in 4th grade. So again, we're looking for that growth. We want to make sure that every kid is growing. You can see some massive growth there from our 3rd to 4th grade students. So that's a lot of celebration. And in 5th grade, again, we have some reading growth, and that math kind of hangs around there. So I want to talk about attendance. So attendance has been a district initiative, a campus initiative, and so we did 2 things very strategically last year and this year. So we started with attendance challenges, and we want to reward students in these challenges. So we have a timeline, and it's for full day attendance. And so if a kid completes that challenge, then we have a glow-in-the-dark party, or we have a jumpy castle. This year we are also incorporating parent incentives. So H-E-B gift cards, things like that to help parents. The other strategy that we had in place last year and again this year is to really find out the root of why students aren't attending, and then using the many resources we have available to us to support that families. Whether it's a food box, we have a food pantry at Crockett, we have a clothing closet, we reach out through CIS and our counselor to really support families if they need that kind of support. So you see over the course of 3 years, we have small gains, and because I wanted to show the latest data, this is the first 16 days from last year, the first 16 days last year and the first 16 days this year. And so you see we have quite a bit of jump there. So we're really excited about that. And this just shows that what we're doing is working. You've heard a lot about OHI, and so OHI, we were thankful to go through this process, and one strength of Crockett was our communication. We were really happy to see that. It has been a goal of mine since becoming principal. I think I shared that in one of the first board meetings that I spoke at, was communication with our community, our teachers is high on my list. It's a priority. And so we're thankful to see that. And then a goal focus is one thing that we really need to work on and beef up. So here's the process for how we did that. We were granted this process through district leadership. We met. We solicited feedback from our campus. So I shared that data and more with our entire staff. They were able to give feedback about what they thought our goals should be this year. So every staff member was able to provide comments and rate those other comments through Thought Exchange. We had about 74 responses, which is great. Feedback. We met as a as a campus leadership team, which is comprised mostly of teachers. We reviewed all of that Thought Exchange data, and we were charged with creating 2 goals. I'm going to share those goals, but not quite yet. When we presented the goals to the staff at our beginning of the year professional development, I'm very proud to report that 100% of our staff said that they could support the goals at the support and the advocacy level, and that's a big deal, right? We have to have buy-in from our entire staff, and we do. The next aspect I want to talk about is our community. So I'm going to show you 3 numbers. So 22% is the increase of parent surveys we had back from the year before. So at the end of every school year, I send a survey out to our community. My first year as principal to my second year, we had a 22% increase in responses. So that's wonderful. 94% represents satisfaction of our Crockett community with the communication they receive. And 25 is an old number. As of Friday, it's 31, and that is the number of different parent volunteers we have had in the building since the beginning of the school year. Very proud of that number. And you know, Crockett's all about community. So these are just a list of all the things that we offer our community, that literally off the top of my head. Just most recently, we had our coffee with the principal on Friday, which I had scheduled for 30 minutes. It was 2 hours, but it was wonderful. Okay, so our goals. Our first goal is to increase student learning in science by increasing instructional minutes, following a high-quality instructional material, and utilizing engaging instructional strategies. Evidence of progress will be monitored utilizing unit assessment data for kindergarten through 4th grade and common assessments in 5th grade. We are establishing a baseline as we go through. So we don't have a baseline data now, but we will once we take those first assessments. One thing we did differently was that, you know, we realized statewide, district-wide, but campus-wide at Crockett, we need to increase our science learning time. So what we did that was different, is particularly in 5th grade, is every teacher is teaching science. Before, only 2 teachers were. So that change gives about an hour a day for science instruction. We're pairing our 5th grade team with a instructional coach for planning, and my assistant principal is a former science teacher, and so her charge is walkthroughs explicitly through science. So we're making very strategic moves to make sure that we stay on target for our goal. And our second goal, no surprise, students at Crockett Elementary will increase average daily attendance to 95% over the course of the 2024-2025 school year by celebrating students, rewarding students and families, and creating an environment where students feel safe, valued, and heard. Our overarching goal, Dr. Cardona, is to be an A campus. Every time I see him, he tells me that. He reminds me of that. And so one of our target for this, the district has goals for approaches, 80 approaches, I think 50 at meets, and 30 at masters. Crockett is going for 90, 60, 40. Here's where we are now. So we do have one of our grade levels that has met that benchmark, and so we are being very strategic about how we support all of our teachers. And one last celebration that came in literally right now. So we have a very small population of English language learners at Crockett, and we had the most students graduate from TELPAS that we've ever had before. So we have about 20 students total. I know the other campuses are looking at me like, haha. I wish I had more, trust me. And we had 7 of the 20 graduate from TELPAS, so we're very proud of that number. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that, because if you know anything about me, I could talk about data and Crockett all night long. Thank you very much.
And Hernandez Elementary School.
Good evening, Board. I get the pleasure of going last after hearing all of those wonderful things. And there's so many things that Annalisa said that's like, yeah, we're doing that too. Yeah, we're doing that too. But I will go over our plan as I have it planned out. But thank you so much. My name is Jennifer Gonzalez. I have been the principal at Hernandez for 5 years now. But I am the proud principal, and this evening I get to tell you about all the great things happening at our school. Some of our highlights, we currently have 565, actually as of today, 569 students. So we are up almost 40 students from what we previously were last year from our enrollment. We are a proud dual language campus, currently serving 251 students in our dual language program. Our school, and not many people know this, we are a Monarch way station. So we have worked for the past about 3 years to create beautiful butterfly gardens, and our students have the opportunity to study the migration patterns of the monarchs. We get to watch, last year I think we had 13 come out of their chrysalis, so that whole pattern, the kids got to follow them and look at it every day. So just observing that was something that we're really proud of. And if you ever stop by, they are beautiful, so come by and look in our gardens. And our staff retention was really strong this year, which was great for me because the previous year we did have a lot of turnover, but this year we kept most of our teachers. And our school continues to have a strong PTO and strong community involvement. And just we also continue to experience high percentages of student achievement growth each year. As my colleagues have also talked about, our OHI data did reveal that our faculty and staff were very dependent on the leadership to solve the majority of problems on our campus. So this summer we focused on independent problem solving, where we worked with our campus leaders, which included classroom teachers, to make sure we re-examined and clarified our organizational structures and our school-wide expectations. So we worked together, the process at the beginning of the year to re-examine our mission and vision, which we rewrote, just tweaked them a little bit because we were still in alignment, and create 3 overall goals for our school. So the 3 goals that were written by our staff for Hernandez Elementary are to, number 1, cultivate a growth mindset and positive environment. Number 2, foster a positive and safe school culture. And 3, enhance self-regulation and academic accountability. We are always striving to improve our Tier 1 instruction at Hernandez. So this year we started with very structured lesson plan templates, which allowed teachers to internalize the HQIM, the high quality instructional materials, and incorporate highly engaging strategies into every lesson. Our admin team has a focus. We've already, on being in classrooms, we've already completed almost 50 walkthroughs in our classrooms, and we are using the Get Better Faster scope and sequence, which was given to us with TIL. All of our administrators are going through the Texas Instructional Leadership Professional Development with Region 13, and we've been able to give some really, really targeted feedback to our teachers on their Tier 1 instruction. We, of course, want our heroes to experience well-structured and welcoming learning environments at Hernandez. So with our routines and systems in alignment with Safe and Civil Schools implementing the STOIC framework and using the CHAMPS approach, our students understand and know the routines and expectations for every procedure at our school. We are also able to create a caring and learning environment by starting each day with morning meetings and SEL lessons to build classroom community with our students. At Hernandez, we continue to use our student data for monitoring and adjusting our instruction based on the needs of our students while staying true to the scope and sequence of the curriculum. We continue to incorporate student goal setting for each and every one of our students, and we keep track of that in our Avid binders to track students' academic and personal goals. We also have school-wide goal setting focused on attendance. Our goal is 96%, which we have hit every week since the beginning of school. So we're very proud of that. I think last week was 97. So we do have that school-wide goal setting with the focus on attendance and our iReady lesson completion for students to see, so that's in the hallways as well. So they can see that every day is important and their work matters. We also use our data-driven PLCs to ensure that the campus is on track with our state accountability success and to ensure the growth of each and every one of our students. Thank you so much for your support.
If they're working on attendance.
We're not doing Mendes tonight?
She's got an ill child. Her husband, something came up there.
Terrific, thank you for the campus updates. And now we're to receive, we're going to move the Mendes report to another night and go into the AP scores update.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Cardona. James Nevada is Executive Director of Academic Services, and I'm joined by our Director of Secondary Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Lacey Oda Mariaski, and our Director of College and Career Readiness, Ms. Eileen Fowler. We'll be going over tonight an overview of the exciting opportunities we're offering our students for allowing them to engage in college-level coursework, earn college credit, and then providing a more holistic view of advanced academics, not just advanced placement or AP. So I'd like to start by taking a high-level overview of the two different avenues that we have for advanced academics programming. One is advanced placement, or AP, and the second is our dual credit, which can be broken down into two subparts: early college, high school, ECHS, and non-ECHS dual credit. Usually when we talk about dual credit, just in that phrase, we're talking about non-ECHS dual credit. So each of these programs has their unique features, benefits, and I'd like to show you a side-by-side comparison so we can talk through some of the particulars of each one of these different pathways for advanced academics. So AP, requirements for AP, their courses are really open enrollment. There's no true prerequisite provided by College Board, other than we highly encourage pre-AP, highly encourage pre-AP, and recommend pre-AP and or advanced coursework. And there's no entrance exam for requirements for advanced placement. For both dual credit and early college, high school, this requires students meet the Texas Success Initiative, or TSI, through ACT, SAT, or TSIA. In addition, students must complete an application and be accepted into the program. How do students earn college credit for each one of these different pathways? For AP, students must score a 3 or higher on an AP exam. For both dual credit and ECHS, successful course completion will result in college credit. So if they pass the course, they receive college credit. For advanced placement, the framework is provided by the College Board, but is implemented by San Marcos High School. For dual credit, potential partners are, last year definitely was Austin Community College. This year it's Texas State University. And then for early college, high school, Coastal Bend Community College. So I'd like to focus a little bit on the structure of these. Advanced placement, once again, follows the College Board framework and is provided by, instruction is provided by the San Marcos High School faculty through that framework in alignment with our district scope and sequence for whichever course the student is taking an AP course in. For dual credit, our juniors and seniors, 11th and 12th graders, they receive instruction at Texas State University this year. Last year, it was through Austin Community College. Early college, high school, the majority of the instruction is provided online through facilitation of courses here at the high school with Coastal Bend Community College. So one distinction I'd like to make between dual credit and early college, high school is you can think of dual credit as like an a la carte menu where students get to choose a course or multiple courses based off of their needs and interests. Early college, high school is a lot more structured, where you come in as a 9th grader and you graduate with your cohort of students receiving 60 hours of college credit, possibly an associate's degree, or the foundation for a bridge to a bachelor's degree at a 4-year university or college. So it's important for us to note the reach of each of these programs that we had last year. For advanced placement, there were 432 students participating in AP. For dual credit, we had 38, and then early college, high school, we had 250. As we proceed throughout the rest of this presentation, We'll be examining at a high level, like courses offered, the way that students participate, and then the outcomes of each one of those specific pathways. Our goal really, or one of the goals, is really to ensure that every student at San Marcos High School has the opportunity to challenge themselves academically, but also potentially get a head start on their college education. So I'm now going to hand it over to Ms. Mariaski to discuss
Can I ask a
AP.
question while you have the slide up?
For sure.
The numbers at the bottom, so those are last year's numbers of students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that was the number of students who were taking dual credit at the high school through ACC was 38?
Correct.
Right, and this year we have approximately 28 with Texas State? Is that right?
Miss,
24,
Yeah.
okay. Which is understandable, given it's a new program and we're growing. No problem. The 432, is that students who are both in AP and pre-AP classes?
this is just AP unique courses within 9th through 12th grade.
So just AP unique, so that means that that's not actually 432 unique students, because some of those students could be in multiple AP courses at the same time,
Quite
right?
possibly, yes.
Okay, but it's not pre-AP, it's just AP seats?
Correct.
Great, thanks.
All right, so we'll transition and look at specifically advanced placement, or AP. We do offer 23 AP courses. You see most of those come from our social studies and science departments. In the middle, we have last year's enrollment by grade level. And in the third column, you have our scores from the spring. We administered 576 unique AP exams, and 43% of those earned a 3, 4, or 5. And so, as Mr. Navarez mentioned, many U.S. colleges will grant credit and/or advanced placement, meaning they can skip a course for the 3, 4s, or 5s. So we, again, had about 43% possibly earn that college credit by passing that exam. And Ms. Fowler is going to look a little bit more deeply at dual credit.
Thank you. So the next two slides, we're going to go over dual credit options. So again, Mr. Navarro said this is like your a la carte kind of choice. So dual credit means that, yes, you're taking a college course, but they are also covering the TEKS for high school, so that you will get the high school credit as well as a college credit as long as you pass the course. So if you go across on the top, looking at our 23-24 year that was with ACC, they offered 3 English courses, 4 social studies courses, and 1 speech course. The enrollment at that point was 38, and then total 115 courses attempted, with 112 completed for full credit. So this year, we're extremely excited. I believe all of y'all were at the signing for the Texas State partnership that we have now for our dual credit. So we have actually added 2 math courses to that. We have the college algebra, and then we also have elementary stats. So those are the 2 new courses that we have, and hopefully we'll be adding more courses here on. So it was a great partnership between President Danfus and Dr. Cardona, bringing that together. I really want to give a shout out to Texas State Global Department, Dr. Tilla Sivakumaran, I believe I said that right, and his group really helping our students get over there, get acclimated to the campus. That is the true experience we want our students having, taking courses with college students. So ultimately they would do 2 years with us, and then they would go over and they would do the multiple years to get their bachelor's degree with Texas State. So that's where we're at right now. We have 24 students over there, and hopefully that will be growing exponentially within the next couple of years. Now, the additional place to take dual credit is through early college high school. The difference between this is in 8th grade, those students apply to be in early college high school. It is a cohort that works off a crosswalk. So they will end up, like Mr. Navarro said, with either an associate's degree or with 42 core complete, which is basically the basic courses you need to get to go into a bachelor's, the first 2 years of courses there for university. And so the courses that are listed up there are 3 English courses, 2 math courses, 2 science courses, 4 social studies courses, 2 Spanish courses, 1 BCIS, which is our computer course, 1 fine arts, and then 5 additional elective courses. So throughout the 4 years, once the students get on the campus here, they will be taking those, and our provider right now is CBC, so Coastal Bend College is who we service these classes through. So last year we had, in 9th grade, 66 students, 10th grade 51, 11th 80, and then our 12th grade we had 53, and with those 53 students, we had 39 that received their associate's degree, so that was an amazing group. We had 15 the prior year, and then 39 this last year.
And then this year, we have 79 ninth graders, 65 10th graders, 49 11th graders, and then 80 12th graders. So we're really, I think a lot of, if you looked at the numbers with dual credit, a lot of students come into ECHS because it grows and gives them more hours that they can take away. But both programs are growing, so we're extremely excited about both of them.
Mr. Arredondo?
Thank you, President Halsey. I just had a quick question on the early college high school enrollment, not like feeder pattern, but I guess just enrollment breakdown. Is there like an ideal size of the early college high school cohort year to year? I mean, there's like irregularity. I'm just wondering why that is. Is it some students transfer out of the ISD, or can you explain
There's
the
multiple reasons.
Okay.
So when we do the application, we look about 100. So there's not a gatekeeper. So any student can apply. You don't have to have a certain grade point average. You don't have to have certain test scores or anything at that point. You can apply, and then we go through. If there's anybody, if there is a entrance class of over 125, we have to implement a lottery, but we haven't had to do that yet. Now, once we say, okay, we have 100 students that are interested, when they go through some of the informational sessions and they see what is required of that, what courses they may not be able to take, let's say if they wanted to do athletics or they wanted to do band, they wanted to do other things and it would conflict with this, then they start to pull out. So that's when our numbers start to drop out. Throughout the years, that's another issue, is that maybe students were not ready to go into the classes, the college classes, so then they withdraw from those. So that's why the numbers come down and kind of fluctuate.
Okay, is there, I'm sorry if I have another question. Is there a plan or a strategy to try and maximize that 100 student allotment, or is it just kind of whatever happens, happens?
To maximize it, we're always adding in more supports. Again, looking at, we have Leslie Prismont, who is the facilitator here at the high school. She's built a relationship with the professors that are taking, that are giving those courses. And so every year, making sure that we get the same professors that really worked with our students, because some professors are a little bit stricter than the other ones as far as, you know, kind of working with our students. So she's the one that's advocating for our students to make sure that they're ready for that, providing any support, any tutoring on the outside that those students need. So we're really building on that every year.
Very cool. And then my third and I guess last question or comment is, one, this is awesome. It's a game changer for these students in our community, and it's huge. However, it was brought to my attention from a product in an early college high school, not from San Marcos CISD, but somewhere else, just a peer who saw on social media me singing the ISD's praises, is, I don't know if there's a conversation about like the transition of a senior from high school going into college as a junior, because that is a pretty jarring additional transition. And their narrative and their experience was, you know, they felt like they had missed some like social foundational experiences because they weren't in those intro to English ELA classes and the college algebra that we all kind of pulled our hair out. At least I did when I was an undergrad. And so I don't know if y'all have had conversations about that experience for students who, one, tremendous kudos for graduating with an associate's degree, first and foremost. But then secondary to that is they now enroll at Texas State or UT, A&M, wherever, and they go in as a junior, and they're essentially in like warp speed undergrad, and they're brand new, right? They're still a little baby, you know, Longhorn or Bobcat.
Yes.
So can you explain that, or have y'all had conversations about that?
Absolutely, and we have, I believe Mr. Odom can tell you with his daughter right now, she is at Charlington, and she was a graduate last year from early college high school, so there's several things. I think one thing with Coastal Bend is that it's all online here, so that's a different experience than dual credit students from Texas State are getting. So they're getting the actual experience of being in there, making sure I'm in class on time, taking notes, being able to interact with the professor. If I'm having trouble, how do I actually communicate with them? So we're looking at different things like that. How do we need to support those students so that they are ready when they go off? Another thing is, you know, maybe the associates, looking at maybe associate's degree as the terminal is not the best thing for the student. Maybe it's just core complete. Maybe they just need to get those 42 hours, because you look and see how getting those extra classes that they may not need based on their degree that they want to get, maybe that's not the best route for them. So really looking at each individual student and how we can support them the best, whether it's, Texas State experience, merging with another experience, those kind of things. So all of that right now is being reviewed so that we can make sure that our students are successful once they leave here.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sorry. Oh, I just have a couple quick
Yes.
questions on that. So the, this number of students who are currently enrolled in early college high school, I don't see it up there. Did I miss it? It's,
On the 24, 25 at the bottom, ninth at 79
oh,
students,
down there,
10th at
24.
65,
So
yes.
sorry, I wasn't adding it up. I was looking on the right side. Okay, yeah, I think the program that we are initiating with Texas State is historic. It is, as Mr. Arnone said, a complete game changer for our kids. Like, making that
Absolutely.
opportunity real and possible for them and giving them the in-class experience that you just laid out is the thing that we have been looking for to try to make those changes happen,
Absolutely.
right? I want to go back, though, quick questions on the AP scores. I'm confused as to how we had 432 seats in AP last year, but 576 exams?
Not every kid takes an exam.
Well, that's kids taking,
Yeah, some students take more than one exam. Not every student enrolled takes an exam, so those numbers,
but the number of exams is so much higher than the number of students served. That's what doesn't make sense.
They should be higher. You have 400 kids in AP, you're probably looking at about 12 to 1,500 exams you should be taking. So we don't require every kid to take an AP exam. So while it's higher than the number of kids in there, we have a lot of work to do, which goes to your,
But I thought the 432 was the number of seats, not the number of,
Hmm.
I'm so confused.
Number of unique students. Individual students.
It is unique students. Okay, that's what I didn't understand.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense then, sorry. And then could we just get, not tonight, but can you give us historic enrollment data? Because I know we talked about the decline of AP during COVID, that it became, difficult for students when they were learning at home, which I understand, but I'd like to see our numbers from the 2021 school year through now in terms of enrollment at each of those levels, if you could send that to the board, please.
absolutely.
Thanks.
And y'all are really speaking to, Mr. Arredondo, your questions are really speaking to our next steps. So we are, I hope you see by this presentation how we're really trying to change the conversation to be about advanced academics. We want to get away from working in silos of AP over here, dual credit over here, early college. How are we serving our students in advanced academics? And so we're very excited to partner with Mrs. Guajardo and her staff, and it's going to be an urgent and intense process to make sure we all have a shared vision around advanced academics in our school district, and resulting from that goals around advanced academics. And so are we seeing enrollment dip, or are we seeing enrollment shift from AP to dual credit, for example? So that's some data we need to dig into to be able to answer these questions and create those measurable goals around advanced academics. It should be no surprise that right in the heart of our planning is to make sure that Tier 1 is our focus in these courses. Just as we would do for our emergent bilinguals or our students receiving special education services, are our students in advanced academics coursework getting high-quality curriculum, assessment, and instruction, and are our teachers supported through professional learning so that they can deliver on that? A couple of pieces that will definitely come out of our work over the next 1 to 2 months will be an education plan for parents and students. We need to make sure they understand these pathways available to them under the umbrella of advanced academics, and that they understand kind of the pros and cons of each. Potentially, if you go early college, you, as a freshman, really a junior, you may miss out on some of those opportunities. And at the same time, what can we build in-house to help with that transition? But we want to make sure we're educating our students and families on AP, dual credit, early college, so they're informed to make the best decision for them and their future goals. And you'll definitely see coming out of our work a clear student identification and recruitment process. How are we identifying students with that potential for success in advanced academics? How are we recruiting them to make sure that the demographics of our advanced coursework matches that of our general student population? I've mentioned that this work is urgent because so many of our systems that are already starting to roll, like for example, master schedule for 25, 26, already we're talking about it. Those systems have to align with the goals here. We can't work backwards. We can't create systems and hope they fit. We've got to get that vision and goals in place so that things like master schedule, grading, et cetera, all those systems are aligned. So we do feel the urgency for regular meetings with Mrs. Guajardo and her staff, and we look forward to sharing with you what comes out of that so that, again, we're really talking advanced academics and getting really clear on our vision and goals for our students. So thank you for your time.
Are you preparing the 8th grade parents at Miller and Goodnight to have a presentation on all these advanced options?
Yes, ma'am, and that was a long conversation on Friday, because early college, that application, that process is pretty early, so we've got to get our education plan in place quickly.
I mean, I really like that response, and I like the fact that not only are you thinking about encouraging high expectations for students and ensuring that students who are capable of achieving at high academic levels are encouraged to do so. I'm not sure that's always necessarily been the case, and that is something that we definitely need to be doing. And also, though, that when we have students who are capable and who are interested in wanting to take those pathways, that we need to make sure that the scheduling allows for that. And I think that's something that we haven't always done successfully and that we can do better. And I'm glad to see that you are addressing that straightforwardly and head on and getting it in place, because I hope that next year looks a little different than it did at the beginning of this year. So thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick 5-minute break. We are reconvening to discuss the voter approval tax rate election with Mr. Mike Doyle.
Good evening, Board. Wanted to provide insight in terms of where we stand with our TRE election. Obviously, we have ballot language in place. We have the vote will be on November 7th at the general election. Working with our communications department, Denise and I, we've worked hand in hand in producing some evidence and some facts for our voters to be able to go and review information. So what you'll see here, it's live on our site right now. We have a VI.A 2024 site, chock full of information that our voters can go to. As you scroll through, there's a presentation on here. There's other pieces of information. We built in an FAQ type question response within our website that just kind of gives you the overall why we find ourselves in a TRE situation. We showcase different facts and pieces of information. This is pretty substantial when you look at how basic allotment hasn't changed. TEA's basic allotment hasn't been revised since 2019. When you tie in the inflationary rates, that you can see that it really is out of whack compared to the actual need for public ed. Again, different effects that would happen in terms of why we need the TRE, and again, looking at tax rates historically for a district. So again, just different pieces of information that we tried to paint the big picture of how SMCISD found ourselves in this situation, the why behind it, and really want to provide that information. Expanding upon that, we have some dates to keep in mind. On October 7th, at the special call meeting, that's when Moat Casey is going to provide information relating to the efficiency audit that that's the firm that we hired, and they'll provide that information on that special call meeting. We also have several other TRE VI.A presentations throughout the community in October, ranging from meeting with our taxpayers at our schools in the evening. We also have events lined up to present, like at Lions Club, working on trying to get Rotary and things like that to, again, just spread the information, spread the why.
Mr. Arredondo?
So I apologize for calling this audible. Before we begin questions about the VI.A and conversations with Mr. Doyle, can we table this and call up item, 10A? I know Mr. Castillo has been very patient with us, but I just think it's the
He's thrilled by our board
thing to
meetings.
do. I know he served his fair share of years on this board, and if he wants to say he can, but I just didn't know if we could move that up.
After we finish with him.
I think we're moving pretty quickly. I think we'll be okay. But unless Mr. Castillo, would you like to, you're okay for a minute? Okay, thank you. Questions about the VI.A proposal? I have a question because I can't see that. Does that involve messaging to our school community?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when are we doing that, and how are we doing it?
So we have some meetings lined up within campuses in the evenings, but also then working with communications. I want to get more meetings established to, like, similar to the bond, where we went out and spread the why within our campus staff.
But we'll send an email or some electronic communication, video, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so this is just the beginning phase. We didn't want to go out too far in advance since the election's not till November. So what we did was thanks to Mr. Arredondo, we did send out a one-pager and a video explaining from the August recap. We included a one-pager, so that received 10,000 views already. So people understand the VI.A, they know the VI.A is out there. So now we built this website to explain piece by piece, and so this is just the beginning as far as messaging. We're going to create additional one-pagers to, like, for example, this is a great thing to point out. You know, how our tax rate compares to surrounding districts. Like Mr. Doyle pointed out, what y'all have done as a school board over the last 5 years have decreased the tax rate over the last 5 years. And so now, as a community, you know, we need your support as far as going out and voting, whatever way you prefer, but for and then the against. So we're portraying both messages. We're not persuading anyone to vote any one way. We're just persuading you to vote. And then to break it down, the increase of a tax rate of 2 cents but your 2 cents will turn into $2.8 million. So you're putting 2 cents into the piggy bank. It's an investment that we will greatly appreciate as a school district. And then here are some things that we will use the money for. You know, continue competitive salaries for our terrific teachers and staff, instructional materials to stay up to date with instructional materials as we continue to grow as a school district, and then safety equipment. You know, we want to make sure we're providing the safest schools and offices for our students and staff, but understanding that if this passes, this is just the beginning of upcoming cost-saving efforts. And so, again, this is also the beginning of our messaging for students and staff.
Great. Thank you both. Other questions?
Are you all addressing any of the community clubs like Lions or Kiwanis?
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
we on their schedules already?
Yes, ma'am, we have a date with the Lions Club.
Because I know November seems a long time, but
It's not,
not.
it's quick.
I mean, we're going to be in October and just be weeks away.
Less than 50 days.
Less than 50 days. But who's counting, right?
Aye.
Any other questions from the board? Great. Thank you both very much. The next item is the approval of consent agenda, the approval of the minutes for the regular scheduled board meeting on August 19, 2024, and the special board meeting on September 3rd, 2024, as well as considering the approval of the budget amendments. Do we have any?
There are 2 amendments to the budget. Both of them are recognizing reimbursements, if you will. The first one, the 2503, is for reimbursements from insurance for hailstorm damage. And then 2504 is for high-cost reimbursement that we receive. So it's just recognizing those revenues and putting in those proper accounts.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Cantu and seconded by Mr. Arredondo. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Are you abstaining?
No, raise my
Oh, I didn't see you, sorry. Okay, 6-0. Sorry.
I got it.
The eyesight. Next up, we have items for action for the Board of Trustees to consider a resolution nominating candidates to the Board of Directors of the Hayes County Appraisal District. Is there a motion?
Anybody that wants me is Joe interested?
Yeah. I think we have one person who's expressed interest, and that is the person who is currently holding that seat.
Okay. I will move that we approve Mr. Joe Castillo.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve Mr. Joe Castillo, seconded by Ms. Cantu. Any questions? Any other nominations? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Thank you, Mr. Castillo, for your faithful service. We appreciate it. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you would like to. But you certainly don't have to. Next, discussion regarding the naming of the new central office. This is a question that had come up, and I think when it was brought to me, my assumption was that we would carry over the name of the building that is no longer. But we wanted to bring it forward and discuss that, and then either make that official or change it. Questions?
I don't remember the name of the former.
Felipe Reina.
Oh,
Yeah.
of our former office over there. Okay.
Yes.
I'll make that
Yeah.
motion that we keep the name.
Before you make
Yes.
the motion.
Yes.
Mr. Arredondo?
So one, yes, I'm supportive of keeping the entire building its original namesake. In this conversation, I was hoping the board would consider dedicating the boardroom in memory of Ruben Garza, the first Latino president of the San Marcos CISD School Board. And so that doesn't have to be tonight, but I would like it on our radar for a future discussion.
I think
So you're saying keep the name of the building with Felipe Reina, but designate a part of it?
The boardroom.
Like the boardroom?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm certainly amenable to that. I think that we should handle it separately on a
Yeah,
separate night. so
for
that-
sure.
that
I
we
just
can
wanted to
make sure that the board gets a
tee it up,
packet informing
yeah.
and let the community know that that's being considered. But Ms. Cantu, you've made a motion to carry over.
But I didn't get a second.
I'll second.
second by Mr. Arredondo. Any other questions on that? I think that that's pretty much our standard operating procedure, is to continue the name that was given in the first place unless there are extenuating circumstances that I don't think that we've had. But I think finding other opportunities to acknowledge and memorialize people who've contributed to the district is super. So let's put that on maybe the next month's agenda to discuss. And we are still planning, I think, to have an opening in January? Great. Hopefully, if we have the naming figured out before then, we can figure out some sort of celebration opening ceremony where we can invite people to participate so that they can see their tax dollars at work. Questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Oppose? Thank you. Next, we are going to review and discuss amendments to the board operating procedures. We discussed at our board workshop earlier this month making 2 adjustments to the board operating procedures. Those were distributed to board members. They involve the board voluntarily signing confidentiality agreements along with administrators before we move into executive sessions, and also changing or standardizing the format of the presentations that we receive in board meetings, and also standardizing the length and the format for that. Any questions on those things? Okay, do we have a motion to approve? Mr.
I move
Shanks?
that we approve both of the amendments for the confidentiality and for the standardizing of presentations.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Mr. Shanks and seconded by Ms. Lopez. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. All against, 6-0. And next up, Human Resources.
Okay, good evening, Board. Board President Halsey, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Cardona. I am Claudia Peterson, the Executive Director of Human Resources. And as a request from last meeting, we do have a quick update on staffing. So as of today, we still have 12 teacher vacancies, so they continue to be filled in since our last meeting, and specifically 12 of these vacancies are in special education. So we are working through several avenues. We have currently our student teachers in the fall program that will be graduating in December from Texas State, and Beth Cantu, our new Director of Talent Acquisition, has been in discussion with these students in this cohort. So approximately 4 of them have been identified and are interested in filling these special education positions. So we're still working the list of additional interest, as well as some upcoming teacher job fairs that we'll be attending in hopes to specifically recruit and fill those special education positions. So that is a continuous work in progress as we navigate through filling those remaining positions. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay.
So we need to consider the approval for certification waiver for the classroom teacher.
I'll make that motion that we consider the approval for certification waiver for the classroom teachers listed.
Correct. And I would like to add that the agenda item that was sent to you had a total of 9 teachers, and we are proud to say that that has dwindled down to now 6, with 3 of them who successfully became certified this past week. So
Awesome.
we anticipate that more of that progress will be made from now until our filing of this through TEA. So currently the 6 remain on there, but they're making good progress in achieving their certifications.
Is there a deadline that you have to submit that?
Yes, we do have October, I think was October 9th, which is within 45 days from the first day of instruction, 18th, right? So 18th, sorry about that, yes. So we are getting there, but again, the goal is that while we need to place these names or leave them on there as we get closer to the 18th, we do anticipate that it'll be less than these 6.
Motion made, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Ms. Lopez, any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? That motion carries. And finally, the discussion and possible action of the annual review of key local board policies 2024 through 2025 school year. Ms. Munoz?
So the policies that were updated are in your book. Many of them are title changes, name changes that for our Title IX coordinators, for just various titles that have changed in our district. And then as requested by our board, we did include 2 policies. There's no change in the video I sent you all via email. It just covers, these are 2 policies to review and are just in your board book.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the board policies that were submitted in our packet.
Second.
And a second from Ms. Villapondo. Are there questions? I heard her first, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Any questions, conversation, discussion? Without further ado, all in favor of approving the policy, sorry, I am so tongue-tied tonight, I apologize. All in favor of approving the policies as presented, please raise your hand. Against? Thank you very much. A motion to adjourn.
Second. I move. Oh, I thought
So made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you, everyone.
I need to go buy a lottery ticket. I said 8:30.
Okay, hold on, wait one second.
Really?
Yeah. What did you, you said you had an answer for me about the